Okay, well, I'm gonna have to stream at a much lower resolution, it looks like. But welcome. Hopefully we're up and running properly. Let me check on a couple things before we go. I don't have my normal sugar-free soda this time because I am in Pennsylvania. So I took a flight today, and that was actually part of the reason why we canceled yesterday. The lighting in this room is absolutely terrible. I apologize. By the way, we are having some issues with the stream consistency. The bandwidth is not the best, so if I break up during this, I apologize. In fact, I think it might be best if I start by giving kind of a general update. And let me say welcome in the chat as well, just in case anyone joins us. So, Kalling Kingdom, the playable prototype has been making its way around the hands of a few players. And it's been going kind of well. Let me switch views here for a second. Let me get a reasonable view. Oh, no, not that one. We don't need the dashboard on twitch.tv. But we might want the Elega Corp website, because I like to start every stream with the Elega Corp website. And of course, this is elegacorp.com. There on the left you have the recent blog posts, including what happened to Age of Nomads, because a lot of people are wondering. And the answer is I decided to go ahead and start over on the project. Give me 1 second. Gotta reach my phone. I have all kinds of important calls I might receive. Hopefully not during the live stream, but you never know. So, and then there on the right you have the normal live stream schedule. But this is a surprise broadcast. This is unscheduled. This is not normal. And so we're going to see how it goes. Gosh, the bandwidth is still giving me issues. So I tried dropping things down. I tried dropping the resolution down to 720p. I tried dropping the frame rate from 60 to 30. The internet connection here is not the best. Not the best. But we'll see how it turns out. I'm going to go ahead and get started on showing some things. Let me pull up Unity here. and go ahead and cut over. And I guess another problem is that I'm not running everything off of the Elgato capture card. So the CPU is having to work extra hard to make certain things happen, unfortunately. Or, well, maybe not the CPU. Looks like it's probably the onboard GPU. But anyway, so I wanted to just kind of go over Kalling Kingdom and the state that it's in so far. And I wanted to start off by just kind of doing like a simple little play session. And so we have some nice music going on here. Hopefully you can kind of hear that okay. And here in the settings, you may remember from last stream, the volume is adjustable now. So I can bring this down. And letting a few people play the pre-alpha version. And so basically, like, let me just kind of do a couple things here. So I'll make a couple offers to bring a couple people to the town. I've got a couple stables. I can pull this open and I can match these people to the stables so that those start generating some income. And I really need to change this panel. This is not the way that I want it, unfortunately. So close that out. And then typically what you'll need to do to actually survive is invest cash in the market. So let me put like 200 in. Actually, I'll put 210. Close. I'll advance to the next turn. And one of the mechanics that I need to start putting in here is city events, so that as you advance through the next turn, there's things that can potentially happen. And I've talked about some of those things before, things like market crashes and monster attacks, and your citizens come to you because they need to make certain things happen, and so on. So that's coming, and there's a lot of experimentation that needs to be done around that as well. But so there we go. So what happened here? So we got a 3% rate of return going on in the market. And right now, the market is okay. Let me go ahead and advance the next turn from here. And say continue and go back to the market. And so this money is beginning to build now, and the rate of return is holding steady. At the moment, the rate of return will stay positive more than it will go negative. But once it goes negative, it's going to go all the way down to negative 10%. But really one of the things that needs to happen is I need to add kind of an element that is of unpredictability to make it more sort of surprising to the player as far as what can happen with the market. I want it to be somewhat predictable. I want you to be able to kind of make calculated risks, but I also want surprises to happen, because investment in the market is meant to be risky. And generally what will happen with new players at the moment is they'll kind of ignore the market right out of the gate, and some of them will actually go bankrupt on the first turn, or they'll run out of money at, like, you know, maybe 5-7 turns in, because they don't understand that they need to pay attention to this aspect of the game's market. So now the rate of return has gone up from 3% to 5%. And I'm just going to continue advancing, but I'll need to kind of start selling out of the market to have some expenses to pay through the turns as I advance. And the money should go up, so we're up to 7% now. Sell another 10. And once it gets up high enough, we'll really start generating some strong income, which is how it's meant to be. The town is not quite standing on its own right now because these businesses are generating income, and at the current rate of return, they'll bring in 14. That's getting cut off. They'll bring in 14 per turn at the moment. But that's only because the market is so high right now. The market's returning a 9% rate of return at the current point in time. So that will not last. It will only last as long as the market lasts. So that now it went up from 14 to 15 because the market's up to a 10% rate of return. So I'm getting quite a bit of cash at this point. 10%. Just noticed that that's really interesting. The tax revenue is not really that high. But I'm going to go ahead and see if I can kind of ride this out. Next turn. 422. Next turn. 458. Next turn. And you can really start to see the magic of compound interest kind of work its way into the game here. So now we're dropping. The rate of return is dropping quickly. I'm going to go ahead and sell out here to a large extent. Do like 450, keep a little bit in there for right now, just at a lower rate of return. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to bring in some additional people and see if I can start preparing cash flow to be higher. So get a couple people. No longer can build stables because you're only allowed to build 2. So I will start building farms. And I'll just do 2 of these. Gosh, I really hope that we're not losing a ton on the stream. It doesn't look great, I gotta say. Alright, so I'm gonna match up some folks to the farms. Match. Match. Okay, so I might want to kind of hang in for a little while at this point with the market downturn. Let me see how well that I can manage that way. So this is 6. This is 6. This is also 6. So these are all, so in total this is 24 taxed at 10%. Do one more farm actually. And at this point, I'm kind of just doing a playtest. So I just broke even for that turn, but now we're only doing a 3% rate of return, which is not great. But we're holding even, and we're still getting a little bit of a positive return at 1%. Probably want to pull out right after this turn. Okay, yeah, so now we're down to 5. Oh, we're cutting down to 59, so let's get out. Okay, so we're out of the market. We have a little bit to cover our expenses now, too. Things are probably going to get ugly from here. 5%. 7%. 9%. 9. In that don't have to do with money so much, and that's what a lot of the coming effort will be on the code. And then of course all of the graphics, they're all placeholder. So like you notice that there is this little placeholder graphic for the farm, but what this really is this is like work in progress graphic for the farm where I kind of started on it, and then I said, let me just throw it in and see what it looks like, just to kind of compare against like the stable prototype graphic, which of course is, all of these are the same, obviously, but all of that is still being worked on as well. So that's basically it. So the next step on all of this is, so there was a bug. Let me see if I can get it to happen. So there's a bug I need to fix. Let me see if I can recreate it. Someone found this while they were playtesting. Let me build a couple things, and then just see if I can get it to happen again really quick. Basically what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to go through these turns. Let me just build a... Oh no, I can't build a hotel. I was gonna say, just let me build a hotel. But what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to be able to go through these turns. Okay, and if I pull up the market and then go to next turn... Oh, that's interesting. It didn't happen. That's odd. So, not sure why, but... I'm supposed to be able to basically keep the market screen open by having the turn... For the turn that goes to 0 in cash, I'm supposed to still be able to keep this open. Oh, yeah, and if I hit escape twice, I can get back. That's not right. Okay, so I have that to fix. I couldn't quite reproduce what someone playtesting told me exists, but it doesn't mean it's not there. I may be trying to reproduce it using the wrong steps. But I definitely need to fix that escape thing, and I think that's an easy thing to fix. So let me see if I can do that really quick. This is going to be a fairly short stream because the internet connection in this hotel room is terrible, so I don't want to spend too much time fighting with it, but I am going to see if I can kind of get a couple things done just to fix a couple bugs. I don't have the capture card, so we're back to Sublime with a typical CPU bound window capture, sadly. So let me see if I can get any of this to work. So I need the UI manager, actually. UI manager, lost game, and I need to avoid showing the panel. Force disable all panels. Avoid showing... I need to be able to avoid showing the options panel is really what I need to do. So let me say key code escape, which is somewhere in here. There we go. Close options panel. Options panel mode. Close options panel. Change mode in game. So really, this needs to say if this is not in game and not lost game, I believe, then we can change mode to in game. Otherwise, actually, I guess I would say, I think what I'll do is I'll just keep it like this. If key code escapes, so this actually needs to be a condition in addition to the input. Yeah. I think we'll do it this way. So, let me try that. One of these is a variable, one of them is a method. Okay, let me switch back to Unity. I have to try to not forget that I'm not doing a normal display capture tonight. I see a couple people in chat. How's everybody doing? Welcome. Okay, so we're gonna run out of money. That's the first step. You gotta lose on purpose. Oh, not what I meant to do. There we go. Next, next, next. Oh no, I lost. Okay, escape. Interesting. So I hit escape. It starts the music over. That's weird. It displays it once. That's funny. Okay. Why does it display it once? That's odd. So if I'm in game, this probably has to be the same as well. In game and yeah. If I'm in game and it's not end game, it's not lost game. And you know what? I probably shouldn't be calling this. Oh, no, I can call that. That's not a huge deal. At least I can do that for right now. I'll keep it that way. Sorry, I just realized I'm in our depressing losing music. Well, if you hit escape, it starts the music over again because it's recalculating that the game is lost, and then it starts the music track over. So I need it to not do that. I need it to just not respond. Yeah. That's a problem. Okay, so let me change this. I'll have the function run once. Lost the game, lost the game, lost game. Okay. Let me switch back to Sublime. Da-da-da. So, by the way, again, if you're just joining us, I am here in Pennsylvania. Why am I in Pennsylvania? I flew into Pennsylvania today, and we are here inside my hotel room. And I'm here for the Too Many Games gaming convention. So I'll be walking around the convention hall and going to some of the panels and things like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's why I'm here. But I'm working on the game while I'm here, because why not? Really. Okay, so I would like to set an actual flag against the game manager, and I think we have one for in-game elsewhere. Yes, we do. So I'll say public bool lost game. Actually, I'll say game lost, because you can't mix up the variable and the method names and so on. lost game. And with this, I will say game lost is true if game lost is false, then set game lost to true and return game lost. And actually, I can really just take this out and say return game lost. There we go. And back to Unity. This is fun. It's manually switching back and forth between the windows in OBS. Alright, let's try that. Oh, and we need to update one more thing, actually. We need to also say lost game, previous. I need to go to the input code. Yeah, and this needs to be the variable, not game lost. And not game lost. It doesn't look as beautiful as I would like it to, but you know what? It'll have to do. Okay. Gosh, Twitch is having a miserable time loading in this hotel room internet connection. I've dropped a lot of frames. I see that in OBS. I apologize. The quality's bad tonight. Alright. Let's go crazy. Oh, can't do that out of the gate. Okay. Stable. Stable. Next. 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 And the music starts. And I hit escape. And nothing happens. Which I think I'm fine with. That's good. And then you're forced to go back to the main menu. Yep. Okay, so that's easy enough. I need to do some other things as well. I'm trying to think if I had any existing other bugs that I needed to fix before I go crazy on something else. But I think I'm just going to go crazy on something else anyway. So I'm going to write a little bit of code. Let me see what's... Yeah. So, let me do that. Let's go back to Sublime. Back and forth, back and forth. Okay. And I'll probably want to create a new C# script. But what will I call it? I don't know. Let me see. So I wanted to start working on the city event mechanic. And I think I know a good way to get started on that. So let me do that. Give me a second. I'm going to create a new file while you're not able to see, while you're not looking. And I'll call this city event. Simple enough. And here in Sublime, I can open up city event. There we go. I'm going to write some code. Okay. So there are a variety of things that can happen, and I don't think I want this to use mono behavior. I'm going to take that out for now, and that means I don't need start and update. But what I would like is to define kind of the definition of what a city event looks like. Because basically the way that this works is as you advance through the turns, there's basically like a dice roll that happens where there's a problem. You know what? I am going to use mono behavior. I will use mono behavior. So there's like a dice roll that happens, and the reason I'm going to use mono behavior is just because it makes it nice and easy to have that Unity editor support, and it's not really a huge deal if I go ahead and use it. So you'll have a dice roll like in a turn to basically say like what are the chances that this city event is happening, and if it's above a certain threshold, then the event has happened. And the tricky part is that you have a lot of different events that could potentially happen in a single turn, but we only want to pick one of them. Just to make things simple, and I think the way that I'm going to do this is you'll generally have like some information displayed to the player about the given event, and that will probably occupy the contents of one of the UI panels. And so I don't want multiple events trying to make their way into a single panel, because that would be bad, I guess. So that's basically the idea. I'm just going to start off kind of building this version of the idea. So let me try that. So I'm going to say chance of event. Actually, this needs to be a float. Yeah, chance of event. It will be some value between 0 and 1 to represent a percentage, I suppose. I'll have it default at 5%, because why not? Chance of event. And that means I'll basically need to spawn these events. And there's a few different things I need to think through here, but anyway. I think I'll give it a name. Probably just like an internal name. I'll just default it to something generic. And chance of event. Event name. There's also effects that take place, and how do I want the effects to work? So basically, like, based on what the player decides, there may be effects that last several turns. I'm not sure how I want to organize that in the code yet. Kind of making this up as I go along in terms of a technical spec, right? So for right now, I'll say chance of event. I will need decisions, and for the decisions, I think what I'll do is like a list of string, and I'll call these available decisions. And I'll do a constructor here to say we initialize a new list of string for the available decisions. And I'll also have the ability to assign different things at this time. So I'll say string event name float chance of event. So this is like to fill everything in at construction time. And then list string available decisions. This event name is equal to event name, this chance of event, and this available decisions are the available decisions. Yeah. Okay, so name of event, and then we want also what displays in the UI panel. So that will be a description. I'll say UI panel title. And then I'll just say event description. Probably doing a few different kinds of constructors here. UI panel title, event description. Oh, actually, I should call this UI panel description just to keep it consistent. UI panel description. Event name, UI panel description, and then float chance of event, and we can do all of these. Oh my goodness. UI panel description. Okay. I think that's an okay start. Now what I'm going to do is create a manager for this. The type or namespace. Oh, I need to capitalize the B, I bet. Type or namespace cannot be found. That really like caught me up one time, not properly capitalizing mono behavior. That was a horrible experience. I don't wish it upon anyone. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to create another script. And I'll call this, oops, not a folder. Maybe I should have folders. I probably should, right? Instead of just throwing all the code everywhere. Okay. I'll call this City Event Manager. Because why not? Why not organize it into a manager? And go back to Sublime. City Event Manager. Oh? Uh-oh. What happened? Do I not have the file? Can Sublime just not see the file for some reason? There it is. Took a second. Okay. Start and update. I don't need that. So for this, I'll probably just say calculate events. I'll have a list of city events, and I'll have a way to initialize that. And to find them, I'm going to say game object, find objects of type. And I need to make sure I'm doing this right. I think that's how it's done. Let me see. Let me look at UI Manager. I think that has an example. Yep. Find objects of type. It needs to be a array. So actually, we'll say city events. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Maybe that's some jet lag kicking in. It's been a long day. You know, I woke up at my normal time, and then proceeded to like go back to sleep. But I woke up at like 6 a.m. and then I slept in again until 7, basically. Okay, so I'll do this, and I'll say, so yeah, you know, I slept basically as long as I reasonably could without like not going to the airport. And I drove all the way to the airport, which was like an hour drive, and then I went through security with like 30 pounds or 50 pounds of electronics or something. It was just like a lot, and I think this is length. And so like then I had a 3.5 hour flight after that, so that's like 5 hours right there, and then it was like another hour in the back of an Uber to get here to the hotel room. But I'm here. I'm in Pennsylvania for Too Many Games, and it's all good. Okay, so city events dot length. So I'm going to, oh gosh, I can't do this. City events array is what I'm going to call this. I think I can do this. Initialize city events. So I'm actually going to say void start initialize city events. And then we need to calculate events. So the way that we're going to do this, I don't think random is a separate namespace, is it? I don't think so. Yeah. Unity engine.random.range. And we can feed in some floats. By the way, you may or may not be able to see, but I have the Nintendo Switch main menu behind me because, you gotta have everything when you travel. You gotta be prepared. That's survival gear on the TV is really what that is. Otherwise, I would die of boredom. Okay, so I'm going to calculate events. So I need to do like a random number. No, not a random number. Random number? Kind of, yeah. So I need to do like a dice roll. So I'm just gonna call this like float dice roll. And this is going to be unity engine.random.range, and I will have this be between 0 and 1, and then we're going to compare against the chance of the event, and then we're going to kind of like do a sort. And I don't know if I'm going to run into trouble with the sort. Probably not, because it's probably going to be a fairly small number of things. But I could foresee it being a problem, and I could foresee the algorithm being an issue. But okay, so we got the dice roll. So the first thing we need to do is iterate through the events and see which events are eligible, basically. So I'm going to say for int x is 0, while x is less than city events.count, we're going to do this. The current city event is city events I. And so I'm going to say if, so I need list city event eligible event if city event dot chance of event is less than is greater than, because we want to exclude everything, basically, is less or is greater than the dice roll. So if you have a dice roll of 0.43, for example, then the city event needs to be greater than that. So for like the default chance of like 5%, it's not going to happen very often, or at least it shouldn't. Okay, so yeah, we'll do it that way. So greater than the dice roll. So if that's the case, then this is an eligible event, and I'll add that to the eligible events. Then what we need to do is go through all of the eligible events and find those that are highest, and if we can find the highest event out of those that were eligible, we'll pick one of them. So if there is a highest, we'll pick that one. If there are multiples that are equal to each other, then we will just pick the first, I think. At least that's how we're going to do it for now, because it is what it is. So for int I 0 while eligible events dot count I plus plus so I'm going to say previous event and top event. I'm going to initialize these as null. If it'll let me. I don't know if it'll let me. If previous event is null, then it's the current event. So let me just say city event, eligible event is eligible events at index equal to eligible event if top event is null, then top event is the eligible event. If the previous event dot chance of event is greater than if the top event chance of event is greater than okay, so I'm going to say if eligible event chance of event is greater than the top event, then in that case the top event becomes the eligible event. So these are events competing for each other to occur, and the way that they compete is through the chance of them happening. So if they are going to occur at all, that's determined by the dice roll, right? And then if there's multiple that might occur, then we have to pick the one that is the most likely, the highest. And I'll also say else if eligible event chance of event is equal to top event chance of event, then we're just going to continue. So I guess a question right now is, how do I get a test running of the city events? I need to create some city events, and I need to test that out. I don't really have a way to get there other than maybe typing something out. But I need to think through how this is configured. Well, for right now, I think what I'll do is I'll just type something quick and dirty for a test. So I'm going to say create test events. So if there are no city events, then we're going to create some city event. So the first one, so since I've been talking about it so much, I'm going to make the first one monster attack. So I'll say new city event. And I'll say monster attack dot event name monster attack UI panel title. I'll fill this in later. You can either attempt to defend against the monsters or you can attempt to surrender to them. I'll give you a hint though, you shouldn't surrender because they're monsters and they cannot be reasoned with. Monster attack decisions. Monster. Make this 0.02. And I think that's everything right now. Oh, come on, Twitch. You can do it. Sorry, if anyone's typed anything into the chat, I can't see it. Hopefully, things are still working. I can't really see. Okay. There's a few folks. I see you. Thank you for sticking with me. Okay. Gosh, I'm like tired, everybody. I'm so tired for some reason. Um, I think it's just been a long day, like I was saying earlier. Alright, so I create the test events, which is at the moment I'm only doing one, right? And so then when I do the calculate events, that's really what I'm interested in. And so what I would like to do is do a print of what is occurring. So let me do a print of top event and see if I can get... That's probably not going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. And just see if I can get... No, yeah, that's not going to work. I want to see if I can get... let's say top event dot... well, I'll just leave it there. I'll see if that'll print. It probably won't. It probably won't even compile. But so what I want to do is I want to see if I can get just the beginnings of the simulation working for the city events. So this is going to run at the beginning of the game. So to make that happen, let me switch back to Unity. And I'm going to go into the actual game scene where everything looks crazy. And I'm going to make a new empty game object, and I'm going to call this City Event Manager. I'll move it up with the other managers. City Event Manager. Does it compile? No, it does not. The name I does not exist in the current context. City Events. Oh, gosh dang it. Okay. X and X. There we go. Let's see if we can get it to compile now. Clear. There we go. Okay, so I got the city event manager in. And it initializes a city event list now. Now I have to switch back to the main menu scene because everything kind of, well, the sound manager loads from the main menu. Okay, well, it's not printing. Why is it not printing? Print top event. Oh, I don't call calculate events. That's what I'm missing. So let me calculate events right off the bat there. All right. So you didn't see it, but I just put that in over in the code. Play. And let's check out top event. It doesn't print anything, but I'm not terribly worried about that. Let me try and get it to print something. Top event. How about the event name? The event name. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. In fact, I'll say event name. There we go. Oh, and it might be null because the chance is too low. Yeah, that's possible. Okay, yeah. Oh, no, it did. It printed monster attack. That's amazing. So wait a second. Let me make the dice roll public. So I'm just gonna say dice roll. It really ought to be public anyway. In fact, I'll give it a default value of like 0.5. It's also not really a dice roll, is it? This is not a pair of dice we were talking about. Oh, what, something went wrong. City event manager. Aha, okay, so now that was too low. So let me say if, oops, wrong window, sorry. If top event is not null. So there will be turns when city events do not happen, I think. Where there's just not much going on. Now we can try to run Unity. There we go. Okay, let's check out the events, city event manager, and the dice roll is too high. So that's interesting. So let me do this just as a test. I'm going to turn up. I'm going to make the monster attacks happen every single turn by turning up the chance of the event to 100%. Whoa, Wait a second. Hang on. Okay. So now this has 1F, and yeah, if the eligible event, yeah, okay. Okay. Save scene. Hit play. And jump back to Unity. Start game. Go to the city event manager. So now nothing happened. Nothing happened. Hang on, let me do a debug. What did I do? Oh, dang it. Did I forget to save? Forgot to save. I think that's what happened. Hang on a second. Let me just make sure. Let me just try one more time, make sure. I might have forgotten to save the file. Game, city event manager. And we're not printing. Okay. Okay. Let me do a debug here and see what happens. And you won't be able to see the debugging, unfortunately, sadly, because it's happening over in Visual Studio Code, and I can't display Visual Studio Code for some dumb reason. I don't know what the reason is, but I can't. Okay. So top event in the code. Here, I'll put the code on screen. That way you can kind of follow what I'm talking about here. So top event in the code is coming back as... It is getting populated. Chance of event is 1. The eligible event... Do we have an eligible event? Eligible event. Uh-oh. Okay, I need to go backwards. Sorry, I can't see certain values in memory right now. Let me try again. I just want to kind of see this work tonight, you know? Just want to kind of get the very beginning there of this event system. Alright. Debugging. Start new game, and okay, so I'm going to examine the values here. Next. Okay, so we got the monster attack. The monster attack chance of event is 1. The dice roll is 0.89. It's a good thing I set it to 1. So that it should get added to eligible events. And it doesn't? Wait, seriously? Oh. No, it does. It gets added. It shows it as null. Or something. I don't know. Maybe that's just the way it's displaying it. Okay, so we do have a value there. Next, 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 next. You can't see it, but I am stepping through the code. Chance of event. Oh, I see kind of what happened. No, I don't. So the top event is there, so it should print. Top event is not null. It's saying that the event is null because something weird is happening. Like I set it, so here, let me show you in Sublime. So like I set it up here, and then something weird happens. It's the only way I can describe it, because like in the debugger, I can see that it is getting assigned something, but like not directly or something. Like if I try to reference, I don't know. Here, I can do this. Event name. Maybe I think the event name is coming back, but for some reason, like directly pointing to the object doesn't work. For some reason, I don't know. It's kind of strange what I'm seeing right now. Okay, so let me just see if that kind of has an effect. Let me cut back to Unity here. Okay. All right, game, city event manager. All right, so we got the event. We got it. We got it. But now we need the outcome of the event. So for that, I need to start wiring up some sort of effects system, which then needs to be able to persist over several turns. So that's going to be a little bit more tricky. But I think that's a good place to call it for tonight. So I'll go ahead and stop there. To get the stream even halfway working, we had to make a lot of sacrifices. I had to downscale from 60 frames a second to 30 frames a second. I had to go from 1080p down to 720p. Of course, the light in the hotel room is not terribly great, and I apologize for that. So we had to make sacrifices tonight, everyone.